afternoon and welcome everyone to the second webinar to share an overview of Project Q, the winning proposal in the first CDFI Fund Innovation Challenge. This is Tammy Halevi from AEO, where I lead our new initiatives. I've had the good fortune to be part of the Project Q team along with Keith Catanzano, Lily Huang, and Jason Rosado. I will be moderating the webinar this afternoon. I am delighted to be with you all, and I'm especially excited to introduce our guests. We've assembled a terrific group to share with you more about the Innovation Challenge, the technology solution our team has built, and the expected impact on CDFIs. Joining us this afternoon are Annie Donovan, Director of the CDFI Fund, the sponsor of this project. Also joining us is Joshua Brackett, a representative from one of the 4 early adopter CDFIs. Joshua is the Chief Financial Officer of Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs, or ACE, in Georgia. He'll tell you more about his CDFI and what they expect from Project Q a little bit later. In our last webinar, we focused on the process our team has used to guide the design of our solution for the CDFI Fund Innovation Challenge, our innovation journey. In this call, we'll focus on the technology solution that we've built. To do that, I'm very pleased to welcome Keith Catanzano from Project Q, where he serves as the technology lead on the core team, Jamie Baker from Amazon Web Services, James Hobson, the Chief Operating Officer from OnDeck. In today's call, you'll first hear from Director Donovan about the rationale for the CDFI Fund Innovation Challenge. Then you'll hear a bit more about Project Q. We'll share with you a bit about the problem we're trying to solve, what we've built, how we arrived at the design and the technology architecture. Of course, we'll give you a preview of the solution and let you know next steps for your organization to get involved before we close at the end with questions and answers. Before we move forward, 2 pieces of housekeeping. First, we are recording this webinar and we will make it available to participants after the call. Second, if you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please type them into the chat box and we will do our best to answer all questions either during the session or during the Q&A time at the end. Now, I'm really delighted to welcome Director of the CDFI Fund, Annie Donovan.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm very excited to be here along with my colleague, Will Gerardo, who's also on the line. And we're very excited for this second webinar to see the progress that Project Q is making with the proceeds from the CDFI Fund's first Innovation Challenge. I just want to say a few words about what the CDFI Fund is hoping to accomplish. This is a capacity building endeavor for the CDFI Fund, and it's our intention is to try to find new and innovative ways to drive capital into the communities that we care about, particularly underserved communities that are not yet being served by CDFIs. And last year we ran our first ever Innovation Challenge, and AEO was the winner of that challenge. We are currently in the process of running a prize competition that is focused on increasing capital in areas, particularly in areas of persistent poverty. So this year's challenge is focused specifically on rural areas. The one thing that made AEO's proposal so appealing to us was the creative use of technology, not only to bridge the gap between small business borrowers and their access to a CDFI, but also for its potential to create new cost-saving efficiencies for those CDFIs. So I was out on a listening tour last summer, and we heard repeatedly about the need for CDFIs to take advantage of as well as develop new technologies in order to expand their reach, especially to communities of color and others who lack access to financial services and products, and to keep those borrowers from turning to predatory lenders. We also heard how new technologies could be utilized to help lower costs for CDFIs by automating processes and sharing services, in turn allowing CDFIs to run a more streamlined and efficient operations and direct more of their resources toward underserved communities. So we were particularly compelled by the shared infrastructure that this model is aiming to build. And these concepts have flowed directly into our strategic planning and will help guide us think about how we can increase our impact of CDFIs by supporting their growth, reach, and performance, as well as expanding their access to new resources. So I am very excited now to hear the update from AEO, particularly about the technology solution that they're building and the challenges that they have to address and the benefits that it will provide to CDFIs. So I hope that this session inspires you and as you think about your own future and the new ways you can expand your impact and improve your services in your target markets. Thank you so much, Tammy, and to AEO for delivering this session, and to all of you for choosing to participate today. I look forward to a robust discussion, and with that, I will turn it back over to you, Tammy.
Thanks, Annie, and thanks again to you and your team for the vision and leadership and real thought partnership on this project. We are super excited about the potential transformation it can unlock in the ways you described, cost savings, and other innovation benefits from a shared utility. Before taking you all through our Innovation Challenge solution, just a little bit of context about AEO. We are the National Trade Association for Microfinance and Microbusiness in the U.S. This is our 21st anniversary year. AEO works with our members and partners to create economic opportunity for underserved entrepreneurs. Our members provide capital and services, what we like to call trusted guidance, to business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs so that they can start and grow and hire. Our team in the CDFI Fund Innovation Challenge has set out to address a complex and urgent problem, and one that, quite frankly, we believe won't be solved without innovation and new models. Treasury Secretary Loon named it, every business day, 8,000 applications for credit from small businesses are declined by mainstream financial institutions. We estimate that that represents a credit gap in the range of $44 to $52 billion. At the same time, CDFIs are only serving a small fraction of the small businesses seeking capital in low-wealth communities. And so we asked ourselves, could we make the concept of declines obsolete while at the same time strengthening the reach and capacity of small business, CDFI small business lenders? So with the problems identified, we assembled a great core and extended team to engage in collaborative problem solving. Our core project team, as I mentioned before, includes Keith Catanzano, Lily Huang, Jason Rosado, and me. Together, we represent a mix of training and professional experience, including deep expertise in technology development, product development, and community development finance. In addition to the core team, we recruited 4 CDFIs to serve as early adopters. We selected these 4 CDFIs because all of them are distinctive in some ways, and they, as a group, represent the breadth and depth of CDFI small business lenders on several dimensions, including their product mix, their target markets, their geographic scope, and their current use of technology. Rather than tell you about each of the CDFIs, we've invited Joshua Brackett from ACE to share a little bit about ACE. Joshua?
Yes, thank you, Tammy. So ACE, or Access to Capital for Entrepreneurs, is a CDFI loan fund located in Georgia, and we cover the state and work with Metro Atlanta and the rural areas as well. Last year, we were able to do about 64 loans to the area, both micro-sized as well as some of the larger small business size. We do this primarily through working with having a strong customer contact and relationship, the trusted guidance, as Tammy mentioned, and being able have a pride in that relationship to work with our clients and to help them out. Our areas of technology that we're trying to work with is trying to get the information we are gathering and working with our clients and to be able to streamline those reporting and data share components. And that's why we were excited when Tammy approached us, or AEO approached us, about participating with this innovation challenge.
Thanks, Joshua. I think that the story of ACE is obviously unique and distinct, but if we had the other CDFIs on this call, and if other CDFIs in the room were to talk about themselves, the stories would not be radically different. Our vision for the Project Q solution is to create a place of referrals. We expect to create value for each of the 3 stakeholder groups that must participate and benefit in the marketplace for us to succeed: referral partners, community lenders, and, of course, small business owners themselves. For banks and non-bank lenders, we're creating a scalable referral program that enables them to efficiently and effectively connect the most difficult to serve applicants to CDFIs, while retaining the customer relationship and being able to track outcomes for that client. For CDFIs, this is a marketplace to serve as a source of qualified lead generation. And most importantly, we're building this marketplace to connect small business owners to capital and services to help them grow and hire. So at this point, I'm delighted to present you all Keith Catanzano from the Project Q core team to take us through the technology-related problem solving and the technology architecture of the solution we've built. Keith, over to you.
Thanks, Tammy, and thank you to everyone on today's webinar for sharing a little bit of your time this afternoon to hear a bit of what we're doing and to provide your thoughts and feedback on how we move forward. As Director Donovan stated a little earlier from her listening tour, when you think about technology and how it can help to create efficiencies and or streamline operations, the first step to doing that is really stopping and listening and asking questions and identifying what's the problem we're trying to solve and what's the role we want technology to play in solving that. And so as part of this innovation challenge, we did our own version of a listening and outreach tour. Tammy, I think, referenced it as collaborative problem solving. We had phenomenal input from folks like Joshua, from a number of different partners across the 3 communities that Tammy mentioned a minute ago: referrals, community lenders, CDFIs, and small business owners. And from that outreach, we heard a couple of common themes that would make creating this marketplace a success. We heard some themes around, first and foremost, something that could be scalable, something that could expand the reach of all of these stakeholders, and something that could help to bridge gaps, whether they be gaps between bank or non-bank lenders and community lenders, gaps between small business borrowers and CDFIs, but thinking of it as some element of shared infrastructure that could help bridge the gaps. We formed a couple of key needs depicted here on this slide. Key needs being, from a referral partner standpoint, the ability to access the system with a degree of ease of use. In other words, we didn't want it to be a burden for a bank or a non-bank lender to be able to participate in this, but we also recognized that they would have their own very both unique and significant needs around participating and ensuring that the release of information and the security of that data would be first and foremost protected throughout the entire process, throughout the entire chain, if you will, and that the system would allow them to understand from a reporting standpoint what's happening with these business owners that they are referring into the system. so that they have a good sense of what works and so that we can all find ways to continuously improve this marketplace. We heard from community lenders, a number of CDFIs that were part of they were in the kitchen making this stew, so to speak, from the very beginning, that they needed improvements in the way that matches could be done. I know that we have had, as I'm sure everyone on this phone, probably in their own way, has a story to tell. We've had a lot of great efforts to try to create second looks or referral programs, some of which weren't quite as successful as everybody had hoped. And a key characteristic we heard when we were doing our design and we were listening to some of the lessons learned was that the matching wasn't always as precise enough to know whether that customer, that small business owner being referred over, was being referred to somebody who would be able to serve them. And so rather than create the scenario where you might have a double decline, we recognized that we needed to do a lot around creating profiles and matching so that we could then, for the CDFIs, we could provide reliable way of bridging the gap between them and small business borrowers, and that we would have to provide, again, a set of sort of shared infrastructure for helping to support underwriting and reporting. And that at the end of the day, we're asking small business owners to take this journey with us, so to speak. So their the lift that we place on them has to be, a fairly light touch because they've got a business to run during the day. So we recognize that their experience needs to be something that is streamlined, is secure, and meets them where they are, whether that be on a mobile device, at a desktop, if they want to work during traditional banking hours, during non-traditional hours, that we would provide them with those kinds of options. And so we took all of those as sort of inputs or needs, if you will, and then we talked with folks who have done this in different forms. We're very fortunate because this was a one-year innovation challenge. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel, so we had just a great opportunity to work with partners who have been building infrastructure that helps to do this kind of stuff, who had been building systems and solving problems very much like that. And so I'm really excited today to introduce two of those partners. First, Jamie Baker from Amazon Web Services to talk a little bit about their architecture and how it helps their clients, and then following Jamie to talk a little bit with James Hobson from OnDeck about some of their experiences, both of whom were just terrific partners for this innovation challenge to help us understand what's been done and how do we learn from that and build as we go forward. So first, let me introduce Jamie Baker from Amazon Web Services. Jamie?
Thanks so much, Keith. Again, my name is Jamie Baker. I'm on Amazon Web Services public sector team focused on federal civilian government accounts. And so Keith mentioned a little bit ago about the ability to have a scalable architecture and the ability to have a site that can actually expand and contrast based on the amount of demand that's being placed on it from different users. And so that's really how Amazon.com came up with the idea about AWS, is that certain times of the year where we have millions of more customers coming to buy things like Black Friday and around the holiday shopping season, to have an environment that can elastically expand and contract without having folks like Keith having to rack and stack new equipment to meet top demand. And so some of the things that the cloud brings to you is with this scale is not only just cost efficiencies, because as you can imagine, Amazon today has 13 regions around the world, and as we continue to expand our cloud infrastructure footprint, our purchasing power gets better and better with the parts manufacturers, so we can source equipment much cheaper and then drop prices. So since our inception in 2006, we've dropped our prices over 53 times. So that's one of the benefits that scale brings. The other one is also around innovation. And so we operate a very agile and DevOps model where our service teams can continually innovate on their own, so in very small teams, to allow them to increase features and functionality of individual services as long as they're all talking to the core AWS API. So what that does is it allows these teams to really enhance their product offering without having to have global teams of thousands of people having to basically come to terms on a big massive product launch like you've seen in traditional IT vendors. So those are two of the big benefits that this shared service model brings. The third, and what I really was going to talk about today, was the benefits that you achieve around security in this type of model. I talk a little bit about the difference between compliance and security. So compliance is ensuring that we meet both federal and non-federal compliance standards. So in the federal government, words like FISMA and FedRAMP, these are the compliance standards that map to NIST security controls that ensure that a cloud service provider meets certain controls that a federal data center on premises would have to meet. So those are really table stakes, right? If you don't have if you're not compliant, you don't have a seat at the table. One of the benefits that in a shared environment like this that people achieve is that every customer benefits from a compliance perspective when AWS or any cloud provider achieves a new security compliance standard. So a lot of people don't realize that, like, the Motion Pictures Association has some of the highest security standards on the planet. And so when we achieve compliance for motion pictures to be able to host Hollywood content, all of our customers benefit from that. So that's one one of the big advantages. The other one is that, and I mentioned a little bit about the innovation. AWS, today we have over 70 services that are part of our cloud infrastructure offering. And so on average every year, we about 30 to 40% of the new features and services that we launch every year are based around security. And to put that into perspective, just last year in 2015, we had over 750 new services, and so almost half of those are focused on security. And so you see from the slide that you see up here, what we kind of delineate with that dotted line is that AWS is responsible for the security of the cloud infrastructure all the way up to the server and / hypervisor layer. And but what we do with those new security tools that we build, we give our customers the ability to design extremely robust security models on top of our infrastructure. And that's why the AWS building blocks essentially allow customers to use all the tools that we're building to create security models that meet even higher than moderate control levels. So that's pretty much what I wanted to convey, and happy again later to answer any questions. But I'll pass it back to you, Keith.
Great. Thank you so much, Jamie. This is really great stuff. And again, I just can't reiterate from a core team standpoint how without building on these types of building blocks where you've got a massive company like Amazon Web Services investing in security and controls, an innovation challenge like this would not have been able to create in a one-year time frame the kind of functionality for our CDFI partners and our referral partners that we did, and certainly wouldn't have been able to do it with the kind of attention to security that a number of these sort of foundational services or building blocks have allowed us to do. So I think it's just been a fantastic way for this project to move forward, and has again allowed us to create something really special within the CDFI community and still be very mindful of the importance of data and security. I'd like to, at this time, hand the mic, so to speak, over to James Hobson, Chief Operating Officer at OnDeck, who, again, just has been a phenomenal partner in this innovation challenge, because in so many ways, they have looked at these issues and they've, been very thoughtful in how they have, as a company, with a number of their partners, treated data and data protection. James?
Great. Thanks, Keith. Before I get into the specifics, I really just wanted to thank Tammy, AEO, and the Project Q team for really letting us be part of this. And also really thank you, Director Donovan, and Treasury as a whole for getting around this initiative and other projects that really, I think, benefit small businesses and are creating the foundation that will change and make it easier for them to access capital. So, we're very excited to be part of it. And just to give you a little bit of background on OnDeck and our involvement with AEO, we're really proud to be a long-standing partner through the Tilt Forward initiative. And as I said, we're excited to continue to work with AEO and all of you on Project Q. And I think foundationally, what's really exciting is that in Project Q, we see an innovative way for financial institutions and CDFIs to collaborate in meeting the capital needs of small businesses throughout the U.S. And that's a big challenge, but it's one that I think we can collectively solve. As Keith mentioned, we are at our core both a financial technology company and a lender. And so I think what's exciting about Project Q is really the focus on how we can leverage technology to more efficiently match small business borrowers with capital providers. We at OnDeck, just like many other national lenders, unfortunately interact with small businesses that we can't serve. But these are still very important customers who we believe deserve a best-in-class customer experience and the opportunity to get the capital their businesses need. Historically, we've tried to meet their needs through referring them to resources like SCORE, which helps them but is only part of the problem. So we believe that matching them to an alternative credit solution is an even better experience, and it's why we're so excited about Project Q. But our experience in partnering with large financial institutions, such as our partnership with JPMorgan Chase, has also allowed us to focus on a number of key technical areas and data security solutions that we think are important to both borrowers and lenders. For example, this deals with the safety and security of customer information, providing a variety of integration levels on all sides of a lending platform and at all phases through the lending process, requirements around gathering customer consent to share non-anonymous data between lenders, and then also importantly, the integrity of the customer experience throughout. In collaborating with AEO and the Project Q team, we've been able to share some of our best practices in designing an industry-accepted utility for expediting the delivery of capital to small businesses. We're also pleased to be currently testing a decline referral program whereby OnDeck is referring decline applicants today to the AEO CDFI network. And we look forward to using the learnings from this test to further inform our development of the matching platform. So overall, we think that Project Q marks a major step forward in realizing an interconnected and coherent lending ecosystem that will ultimately enhance the access to capital, and help drive small businesses across the country. And we're really excited to be part of the team.
Thanks, James. Let me now take a few minutes and walk everybody through what this system solution looks like. You have up in front of you two different snapshots, because in fact there are two different websites for Project Q. The one on the left is the public-facing website. So that's what small business owners who are referred into this program, that's what they would see mywaytocredit.com. The one on the right is the private portal. That's what you as CDFIs or our partners, that's where you would go to manage the flow, to manage the connection of small businesses seeking credit. And so I'm going to start on the one on the left. Again, as you may recall from the first webinar, the basic process is a small business owner goes to her bank or her mainstream lender and is not the right fit for credit there. That bank or that lender, in responding back to her, shares a link to the My Way to Credit program with a little bit of an explanation around the program and an invitation to participate in this Project Q program by going to My Way to Credit. So then I, as the business owner, have received this link with a little custom URL that I would click on, and it would take me into that screen that's on the left-hand side. So I've just advanced to the next slide. This is what I would see. I would come to a fairly basic layout. We tried not to overcomplicate things, given that this business owner has probably got a lot that she or he is juggling, and so we simply want to get the referral ID, which her bank has just passed to her. If she clicked the link, if it happened to have been in an email, then that white box would be filled in automatically. Essentially, that's a unique way for us to know who it is that's coming to the site at this point. The menu at the top would let the borrower or the business owner learn a little bit more about the program, how it works, and some other sort of contextual information. But the primary action that we want the business owner to take at this point is to enter that referral ID in and click Next. Clicking Next would take her to an assessment. The assessment is based on a little bit of information that we've received from the lender about this particular applicant, a little bit of information that helped us to do the initial screen or the initial match against the profiles that the CDFIs had created. And so we take this as an opportunity to share or to put in context that information for the business owner herself, share a little bit of context around personal credit. What's the makeup of that? Why is that important? Business credit, do they have business credit established? Again, what's the importance of that in a lending decision? What's the importance of that for the business? And then also some rough benchmarking of that business's performance with respect to revenue compared to local businesses that are similar and compared to some national averages. So the basic idea at this point in the customer's journey is to help explain how some of the key bits of data about their company look in a bit of a broader context. And we invite the owner to continue to learn a bit more, and also to move forward on this way forward with the website, with that Find Your Way to Credit. If she chooses to move forward, we have a very lightweight form, so we can get a little bit more information about the business owner. Again, the intent here was not to replicate sort of a full soup to nuts loan application, but to get a little bit more information that will help us to refine the match. Because if you think about it, at the end of the day, our goal is to help this business owner who is already not the right fit for a loan with at least one institution, to help get him or her into the right product and find the right match with community lenders. And so we need a little bit of information, both so that we can contact him or her, and then also so that we can refine the match. So there's a couple of lightweight pages, just as you see here, not overly dense, trying not to overwhelm the business owner with huge requests for information. And at the end, we update the matches and display back on that final page the institutions with which they were matched, so that the business owner herself can initiate contact, can reach out. The banner at the bottom where it says Your Community Lender Matches would list out the matching institutions contact information, and a point of contact, a real human at that place that she could reach out to follow up. But at the same time, we take that business where we've just had a match, and we update the back-end system so that the CDFI participants will be alerted of the match as it's happening. What we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage any and everyone to be able to take action to move the ball forward. In other words, to take the next step after these matches have been done. So let me take a couple of minutes and then show you what that same basic experience looks like in the back-end system. That is what the CDFIs would see as those matches are occurring. So I'm going to focus on the box on the right-hand side. So I've logged in, and the first screen when I log in as a CDFI, or when I log in as a referral partner, the first screen, this was talk of movies earlier, is information about my customers. So you can see in the top left corner, we've got where the My Way to Credit logo is. We have two primary tabs, one around the customers and the other around reporting. Underneath the My Customers tab, we have three other tabs: campaigns, segments, and customers. And the campaign is really where matches occur. And in fact, you can see in this test example a couple of cases where we have matched a small business applicant, somebody who has just gone through that public-facing website I showed you, updated her information about her need for credit, a little bit of information about her company, and that has created a match which is presented here under this campaign, again a test one that we've just used for demo purposes, called Washington Get Healthy as just one campaign name. And within this campaign, all of these campaign members, all of these small businesses match the criteria that the CDFI had established for this particular campaign. So now it's one space to see who fits the criteria that I've set up. It's the contact information, it's the background information from our referral partner, and the background information from the applicant pulled together in one spot. You can have multiple campaigns. So we recognize that not every individual profile that you serve, of clients that you serve, is the same. You may have very distinct segments or very distinct groups. And so we allow you to create campaigns around each of those groups or mix and match segments. And at the top level, we were just zeroed in on one particular campaign a second ago, the Washington Get Healthy. And now we've stepped back to look at a handful that are in this particular CDFI's set of campaigns. And you can see the disposition of the businesses that have been matched with each of these campaigns. So how many have been matched? Of those that have been matched, how many have been contacted? How many have applications completed? How many are funded? Again, this is all just test data. None of this is real, but it's a way at a dashboard level for a CDFI to see, which of these campaigns are gaining some traction with these small businesses coming through the system, and also to track how quickly or how well you're able to respond as they come in by making that first contact, by helping to complete the application, and ultimately to reaching a funding decision. Within each campaign, there's a segment. That is, there's a profile of the customers that are the clients that you serve well. And I mentioned earlier that what we're trying to do is really help to bridge the gap between the small business borrowers and the CDFIs. And part of the way this program does that is by having a lot of attention to the way that those matches are formed. So you can see that there's a handful of different criteria on the left-hand side of the slide for characterizing the segments that you serve well, both your traditional credit box as well as other characteristics of the business and the business's performance. So again, really what we can hope to be a flexible way of defining who do you serve, how do you serve them, or how do you serve them well, and then some tools to help streamline your operations and streamline the matchmaking that is needed for this marketplace to work. So just as a wrap-up, we are, from a Project Q standpoint, from a CDFI innovation standpoint, we are approaching the version 1 release. We did our initial release earlier in June, sweated it out through the summer, did our beta release, essentially our second round of testing a few weeks ago in August, and we'll wrap things up, deliver it to Treasury by the end of this month. And I'd like to now hand it back over to Joshua to get his perspective on how does this kind of stuff help and what are his expectations or aspirations for this program going forward.
So thank you, Keith. It's a good overview of how our interaction has been on the system. You can see setting up the different campaigns and being able to watch and monitor all of that. So allowing us to screen those referrals into those different funnels gives us the opportunity to match our different products to the types of referrals that would be coming through that system. In addition to that, we can slice and dice it different ways and also look at the types of referrals that are coming through, not just on credit, but on geographies and where they break out within our different product mix. One of the things that we're working to do is streamline our technology interfaces, and so we're moving into some Salesforce environment and cloud-based data sharing within our systems, and having the referral program being able to tap into that maybe in the future and really integrate and streamline and cut down on some of the ways and the amount of time we have to touch each application from an administrative standpoint, allowing us to focus better on helping those clients.
Thanks, Joshua. We really look forward to working with you and the team at ACE to extend and expand the solution, and of course with the other CDFIs in the cohort. A note of thanks to Keith and his team of really talented systems designers, software engineers, and designers at Two Rivers. I also want to thank the Amazon Web Services team for all the guidance and support they've given to our technology team. And a final word of thanks to James and his colleagues at OnDeck. As you heard earlier, OnDeck has been an invaluable thought partner, resource, and guide to our team as we've thought through various elements of what has to be true for this solution to work. And as James mentioned, in addition to the problem-solving support from their software and product engineers on the design, they've demonstrated their continued commitment to improving capital access experience for Main Street business owners by referring the applicants they can't serve to CDFIs. To date, more than 500 applicants have been referred to CDFIs in our test environment approach. Through that, we're getting important baseline data about what to expect from applicant behavior and how to proceed on the next phases of a more integrated customer experience. Their commitment to cross-sector collaboration and supporting the mission of CDFIs has really been appreciated and invaluable. So by now, you're probably asking yourself, what does all of this talk of Project Q mean for my organization? Our plan is that following this proof of concept period with the first cohort of CDFIs, the solution will be made available to a next cohort of CDFIs. We will select that next cohort by the end of the year. There will be a standard onboarding process that takes CDFIs through the performance expectations for participation and for use of the system. Similarly, referral partners will have a custom onboarding process to be able to begin to send referrals into the system. We invite interested parties, whether they're referrers or receivers, to express interest and sign up by completing the short form using the URL on slide 27 below, or on the slide on the screen below. Our team will then follow up with folks who have expressed interest. That brings us to the end of the presentation portion of this session. I want to thank Director Donovan, Joshua, Jamie, James, all of the guests that have J names, and the Project Q team. Innovation is so critical to increase the flow of investment to the businesses and communities that we all care so much about. This proof of concept project has been invaluable, and we are incredibly excited about what is to come. We're now ready to take questions. Please submit your questions via the chat box. Our team is standing ready to share the questions. And while we wait for the first question, let me encourage you to mark your calendar for the next Project Q webinar that's scheduled for September 21st at 1 p.m. That session will focus on the intent, expectations, and experience of bank referral partners, starting with Wood Forest Bank. So the questions are rolling in, and the first question, are banks the only institutions responsible for entering small business loans into Q to initiate the Q process? If so, how much information and time will it take for bankers to enter each rejected business loan, assuming Q is a separate software from their individual banking application processor? I'm going to pass that question over to Keith and simply say, before handing it over, that we have designed the solution to be as flexible and accommodate the feedback we've heard from bank partners to make the referral process as seamless as possible. Keith?
Great. Thanks, Tammy, and thanks for the question. There were two parts. The first one, are banks the only referral partners? We really envision, and in fact, in designing it, expect that bank and non-bank lenders could both be sources of referrals, and so we expect that it could be a bank or a non-bank lender. And then how, I think, was the second part of the question. How does that work? What's the way that gets in? Do you sit there and have to type it all in? No, that's the good news. You don't have to sit and type it all in. We do. We have two ways right now. One is a file where we have a standard, kind of think of it as an Excel spreadsheet, a CSV or comma-separated file that you can upload to our system. We have a secure way of transferring the file, and we will use that to generate the unique URL that we share back with you, and then also to kind of kick off the process that we walked through on the slides earlier. And then we have a second, bit more integrated process in which a referral partner can connect directly to the Project Q system through an API integration that we've built. So we created two different methods for starting off a referral process. One, a file transfer with essentially a spreadsheet, and then the second being a direct integration between the Project Q system and any systems that you're currently using.
Thanks, Keith. The next question builds on that one. Has there been formal buy-in from the formal banking community? I think the answer there is, as we have worked on this project, our intent was to find, number one, seek input from a number of potential bank referral partners. We think of bank referral partners in three broad segments: national banks, regional banks, and community banks. We engaged in dialogue with representative banks in each of those segments. We're proud to announce, or proud to share, as we shared in the last webinar, that the first bank that's committed to working with us to prove the concept of the Q solution is Wood Forest Bank, based out of Texas and representing a 16-state footprint. And we are engaged in dialogue with a number of other banks, national, regional, and community, to both get their continued feedback on the Q solution and explore opportunities for next phase rollout. There's a next question. Will Treasury work with various departments, FDIC, OCC, and others, to get assistance with bank referral sources? I will turn that to you, Annie, or Will, if you want to take that question.
This is Annie. We have not considered doing that, but I think that's something we can take under consideration. So we'll take a look at that.
We love that answer. So the next question is again for you, Keith. What is the role of AWS in Project Q?
Sure, great question. So as I think Jamie used the phrase building blocks or maybe Lego blocks. Essentially, that's the software infrastructure that we built Project Q on. It was a set of software services or building blocks that allowed us to build the Q innovation relatively quickly, and also to build it with a lot of the data security, both while data is moving and also while it's being stored, with a lot of those considerations sort of top of mind, if you will. And if there were other subtleties to the question, we can certainly follow up offline for more details on how we leveraged AWS. Thanks,
Keith. So we have a number of questions related to the cost of the system. What will it cost CDFIs? How will the ongoing cost of maintenance be covered? How will it ultimately be distributed? I think the current answer is that there is no cost to CDFIs to participate. We are exploring a range of business models to make this sustainable and high impact on a go-forward basis. The expectation is that this must be sustainable. It must take costs out of the system for all players, but it should not be a cost prohibitive to participate utility. We think of it as a shared utility. At present, like I said, there are no costs to CDFIs to participate. There are another set of questions related to eligibility and expansion. The first question in that group is, what criteria will Q be looking for in the selection of CDFI test partners? A terrific question. Much of the sequence and population of the next cohort will be informed by the geography of referrals from bank partners, as well as, in some cases, the existing portfolios of bank partners. We are keen to strike a balance between ensuring that supply meets demand, so that we have the right mix of CDFIs in geographies, referral geographies. At the same time, we are mindful that CDFIs need to reach or serve at a minimum level of performance. We are working in tandem to the technology build to establish, with the help of the Center for Financial Services Innovation, a set of standards that will govern the performance service level agreement for CDFIs participating in the platform, and those will be made transparent as soon as as the first draft is available. There's a related question: do CDFIs need to recruit banks to participate? The short answer is no, they don't need to. However, the combination of a CDFI with a bank partner or a set of bank partners is very welcome. Again, this is an infrastructure that is designed to work with a broad range of bank and non-bank referral partners, as well as a range of CDFIs from a relatively low-tech CDFI to a much more integrated, we'll call it high-tech CDFIs. The next question is whether this will be available to all CDFIs, whether it will be available through the CDFI fund or AEO. So yes, this will be made available to all CDFIs that are able to meet the service level commitments to participate on the platform. We expect that it will be made available through AEO, not through the CDFI Fund. The CDFI Fund's Innovation Challenge provided the seed capital and support environment for the Innovation Challenge, but the scale of the go forward and the scale will be the responsibility of AEO. I think we have time for a couple more questions. You mentioned that you've had 500 successful referrals so far. How are small business owners learning about the Q website, and how are we driving traffic to the site? It's a terrific question. Access to the Q solution is not a direct-to-business owner or direct-to-market solution. The referrals are made, access to the site and the resulting referrals are made by a financial institution that is not able, that's using the platform and is not able to serve a customer. And so with that referral, with that relationship from a referral partner, a business owner is referred to the site. When we started the project, we began by testing 3 different use case hypotheses about what this solution might do. Use case 1 was referrals from financial institutions. Use case 2 was referrals from aggregators, brokers, traditional brokers, and kind of innovative platform brokers. And use case 3 was indeed direct to business owners or direct to CDFIs. We chose in the 1-year period of the Innovation Challenge to focus on use case 1, referrals directly from bank and non-bank lenders, for a couple of reasons that are worth mentioning here. One is that is essentially the largest size of the prize. If we can solve for getting applicants that banks can't serve into CDFIs, that solves the bulk of the challenge of bank declines and the challenge of capital access by small business owners. The data tells us that many or most business owners still do start with their banks. Second reason that we started with that use case is that the complexity associated with offering a either direct to business owner or direct to CDFI solution was far too high. That complexity is driven by a couple of things, not the least of which is the complete absence of standardization within the application process within CDFIs. And so while presenting CDFIs a direct solution to be able to more effectively and efficiently underwrite the applicants that they attract would be quite powerful, a number of things have to happen around a common application and some other standards first. I think we have time for one last question. And the question is, appropriately to end it, when will CDFIs have an opportunity to sign up? CDFIs have an opportunity to sign up starting now. If you go to the URL bit.ly/AEOQCRM, there is an expression of interest form that will allow us to know that A, your CDFI or referral partner is interested, and B, have the ability to contact the right person in your organization. With that, I think we will close. We will be distributing both a recording of this session as well as the slides to everyone who participated and who registered. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the Project Q solution. And thank you again, Director Donovan, and all of our guests today both for participating in this call and for your thought leadership, your support, and your engagement in developing this innovation that we are incredibly excited about. And with that, thank you all very much.